My name is Mike Finnegan. I'm here today. To my right, Megan Peterson, a courageous survivor. And on my left, another courageous survivor, Vern Wagner. And we're here today to announce a settlement of the Doe 19 case involving a notorious priest who worked here in the Diocese of Duluth for almost 20 years and then was shipped over to the Diocese of Crookston. And what we really want to talk about there are two reasons that we're here today. The first is to make sure that people know that they can come forward confidentially and get help. It's not too late. They can still get help, and Doe 19 is a perfect example of what they can accomplish by coming forward. Survivors can expose perpetrators, get the secret documents that show what the bishops and the top officials knew through the civil system and protect kids by doing that. They can also get help for themselves through the civil justice system. And Megan Peterson, after I talk a little bit about this lawsuit, she'll talk about her experience in the civil system. So this lawsuit involves Vincent Fitzgerald. Vern has a picture of him. Here's another picture as well. Doe 19 was the first lawsuit brought in Minnesota involving Father Vincent Fitzgerald. He was the first one that came forward courageously, stood up, and filed suit involving his perpetrator. What Doe 19 and we found through this lawsuit was that Vincent Fitzgerald abused a whole lot of kids over decades. We now represent 16 other individuals who were sexually abused as kids by Vincent Fitzgerald. He's one of the worst predators that I've seen in my over decade of working on these cases, one of the most tragic cases. And all of this was uncovered because Doe 19 came forward, filed a lawsuit, and was able to uncover what happened. Through his lawsuit, he was able to get documents, which we released today to the public for the first time. These were documents that the religious order, the Oblates, that Vincent Fitzgerald was a part of, kept in their secret files for decades and decades. What these documents uncovered was a tragic, tragic case of this perpetrator being known since 1963 of abusing kids. Kept abusing kids. Another report on him in the mid-60s, at which time he was sent here to the Diocese of Duluth, where he worked in Northome, in Squaw Lake, and a number of other small parishes throughout the diocese. Multiple reports of him abusing kids for decades. And this perpetrator, Vincent Fitzgerald, was allowed to stay in ministry and allowed to keep abusing kids. All of this happened before Doe 19 was abused in 1984. What we uncovered here through this trial was this. We didn't know any of this before. Excuse me. Thank you. So Vincent Fitzgerald was moved from all these places, state to state, assignment to assignment, for decades. When the church knew about him and knew about reports going back to the 60s, he kept having access to kids, decade after decade. And as I said, we've now found out that we know about by name that there are at least 17 people that he abused, and we believe that there are dozens more throughout the years. Do you mind holding that for a second? So Doe 19, he was in abuse until all the way down here. Once he got over to the White Earth Indian Reservation in the Diocese of Crookston, right there. Decades after they had the first report on him, 2 decades after they knew about him. That shouldn't have happened. But the good news here is that Doe 19 stepped forward, came forward. He was able to do that confidentially, and even to this day, he's remained confidential and private. He got help, he's getting help, and he was also able to uncover this history through this process. He settled his case just within the last week. And so this journey for him, the lawsuit part of it is done. And now he has a chance at recovery himself. So for any survivors that are out there, suffering in secrecy, silence, and shame, there is still time, but there's only 2 weeks left. 2 weeks before the Minnesota Child Victims Act runs out and your rights are gone forever. So anybody that is suffering, you have a chance to get help, to uncover this past, and expose some of these perpetrators. Megan Peterson, who's to my right, she came forward, was it 2007, 2009? 2007, Megan Peterson came forward. Her perpetrator, Father Joseph Jayapal, had never been exposed before, was still in ministry in India when she came forward to expose him. And Megan will tell you more about her story, but I know from us, when she came forward, she was scared, didn't know what to do, but knew that she didn't want this to happen to anybody else. And so she courageously stepped forward. She started out as a Jane Doe. So she started out as Jane Doe 121. And she remained private, remained confidential, and then at some point in her journey decided that she wanted to do something public. And she's one of the most courageous women I know. And it was an honor to work with her then, an honor to stand with her now. And I'd like Megan to tell you a little bit about her journey and what coming forward can do for survivors, and talk to that. Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Megan Peterson. I was raped when I was 14 and 15 years old in the Diocese of Crookston, Minnesota. That was in 2004 and in 2005. The rapes that I endured at the hands of Father Joseph Jayapal almost took my life from me. It certainly took my voice. It wasn't until I started the process of the civil suit that I started to receive that voice back. It was a very scary process. It was a very dark place to be, but by starting the civil suit, it allowed me to step into the light that was previously taken from me. And I just feel that it's so important that I try to put this message out there for people, because healing and recovery is absolutely possible. You can come forward anonymously. I came forward as Jane Doe 121. I was 17 years old, and I stayed as Jane Doe 121 until I settled my case in September of 2011. And at that point, after seeing all of the documentations, everything that the diocese knew about Joseph Jayapal, and to see that children were still at risk from Father Joseph Jayapal, that compelled me to use my face and use my name to help survivors feel less alone, and to regain even more power and strength for myself personally.